I'm now going to hand over to the principal of Niederberg Primary School, to Melville. And Melville, we are so excited that you're in the room, and great that you can share with us what you are doing in your part of the world, and what impact and what successes and even challenges that you're having in the work you're doing. So over to you.
Thank you, Sheldon. Good day, colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure to be here to share this platform with you. In Paul, we do have the very same problem most of the schools in our country have, and that one is the one of absenteeism that later becomes a case of a learner being a dropout. Now, in our school in the past, we struggled with a high absenteeism rate due to a number of factors. For example, you had bullying playing a role. You had your social ills in the community playing a role. Then there are those ones, for example, not doing their homework, so they don't want to come to school. So those are some of it. I prepared a PowerPoint presentation, which I'll go through later with these things. Then, now, one of the main things absenteeism has is the fact that it affects the learner's academic performance negatively, and that reflects in their below average academic results. Now, what did the school do? What did Niederberg Primary do? The first thing we did was we went to find out how can we monitor absenteeism? How do we do that? Now, the school do have the register where we record learners being present today. But what we did here is we developed a register where we only recorded the absentees. So, and we work with that register. So those that register would come into the office, the teachers would write down those 2 or 3 names per day. It would come to the office and I would go through that. And if we find that a tendency of a learner to be, that shows, for example, 3 days or more absent, or that it is a learner that is 1 day per week absent, then we immediately follow that up. Now, how do we do that? The teacher either call the parents, do a home visit, but we also have the Kula development group on board. In partnership with them, they have community workers, field workers. In many cases, those field workers are people who are either parents of the school or they are living in the community. So they know our children. So they go out, they do a house visit, and they do the report back. And the moment they went to the house, you do find that the next day, or even that very same day, the child would report to school. So that is a success of that. Then also, let me just go to our presentation. Just give me a second. Okay, there we are. That is Niederberg Primary School. Can everybody see that? See, and you can hear?
Yes, yes, Melville.
Okay, thank you. So that's Niederberg Primary School in Paul. Okay, let's continue. My second screen, the courses, we all know what the courses are. Some of it I highlighted. The first one, there is sickness, illness, where the child is not feeling well. Then we also have weather playing a role. Whenever it is cloudy, it's raining or foggy, then some of them would stay at home. Then we have things such as your bad grades. They didn't do their work because they were absent. They just fared badly in the test or in schoolwork and they stay at home. The other one is not doing their homework. Now, we must also remember that many of our learners stay in informal settlements. And that informal settlement, that house, is a one-room building. So there's no space for them actually to have time to do their homework. And in many cases, then that space also is overcrowded. So they just come to school without the homework, or they stay at home without having done their homework. The next one is important one, the bullying one, bullying. Now, you do find that some learners bullying each other, and that's a normal thing that happens. But some learners can't just take it because either there have been some physical confrontation between the two of them, or one just says something bad to the other one, and then they don't want to come to school, they are scared. It can either be a fellow learner, or sometimes they feel afraid of the teacher. And remember here, the teacher isn't bullying the kids. It's just a sense that they feel that the teacher is speaking too loud, and they're not used to that, and they say, but they are scared of the teacher because the teacher speaks so loud. The next one, family problems. Now, we did a survey last year, and our surveys showed the following. We had 248 of our 850 pupils who were living in a single parent household, which was an eye-opener. Then another 124 were living in foster care. That means either with an aunt or uncle or grandmother, or even with other people. So that is a problem we have. Now, because of that, that is also a contributing factor to kids not coming to school. Where the special foundation phase learn now to the payout points, and then days after that. So those were the courses. And the last one, as I said earlier, a teacher-learner relationship. Sometimes your learners, they are scared of the teacher, or they are afraid. So that is mostly what we see as some of the main causes for learners not to come to school. The next slide. Now, how do we address absenteeism here at Niederberg Primary? We all want everybody to be in school, all desks full, all 850 each and every day in school. The first thing I said, we have the daily attendance recording. We do that. All of us have to do that. But as I said, we have another register where we only record the absenteeism. The next one, we then do home visits. It's either the teacher, or we have our caregivers, our field workers of the Kula Development Group doing that for us. Then peer support. We have in a partnership with Kula, we have a leadership program where our grade 4 to grade 7 learners, 2 or 3 of them, undergo a leadership program which are presented by high school learners. And this now give them the mechanism to work with the other learners. So whenever we feel or we see and they see that there's a learner not coming to school, they would interact with that learner and find out, listen, why didn't you come to school? What is the reason? And they would support that learner and encourage him in that way to come to school. The next one, important, making learning fun. It must be fun for them to come to school. They don't want to be actually at home. They must come to school. So the environment at the school must be conducive to learning for them. So the school must become a bully-free zone. Whenever you have an example where you see there's bullying taking place, you have to address that immediately. A very good relationship with our parents and the guardians. As I said earlier, nearly half of our kids are coming from broken families and they are in foster care. So we need to have a good relationship because in many cases that role model is absent at home. Then the important one is we have a partnership with our NGOs, Kula for example. Then we have a business also coming in and donating to school and plowing back into school and into the community. Here can I mention, for example, my school. We, for example, received from my school, partly donated from my school and some other NGOs and even the department, the Western Cape Education Department, we received 6 new classes to the value of 1.3 million rand. Department donated 40% of that, and it's now put the word I between inverted commas. We had to find the other 60%, which we did, and we could only do that through the partnership we have built up with our NGOs and business. Then the last one I want to mention here is the good understanding between your teachers and learners. There must be that very good understanding. The learner must feel free to interact with the teacher, to come to the teacher and say, listen, sir, or nurse, this is problematic for me. I find this as a problem. What can we do? What can I do? How can you help me? So that should be there. Then we must motivate our learners to attend school by now different projects. For example, we developed a attendance certificate, which we award to a class, which for that week is 100% present, and that also includes a teacher. So we have our attendance certificate, and we award this at our assembly. But now currently having COVID, we don't have the assemblies, so we just mention it over the intercom system, and we get 2 or 3 kids coming to the office and we present it to them. Or we do that in the staff room to the teacher, and she will go back to class and they will have that. Then also we have rewards for the class. If big present, and now that is in the hands of the teacher. She would now arrange, okay, everybody was present 100% of the week, everybody gets a packet of knickknacks or a sweet or whatever the case may be. So stakeholder involvement, that is very important. So we have, for example, Kula. When Kula came aboard, we thought, what can we do? We do these things, but still we have some kids at home, and everybody, they don't take to it so easily. So Kula, for example, developed the following slogan. I'm going to put it to you. They said, wake up, get up, and show up. And that is what it is. So we repeat that. We say, get up, we say, wake up, get up, and show up. And that is what it is. So Kula also came to the school, and we had a little theater performance with this theme of wake up, get up, and show up. So colleagues, this then will be my presentation. So I want to tell you say the following. If we say we are teachers, then we can only teach our learners. And we don't have any learners, we can't teach. So it's our role and responsibility to see that our learners really do come back to school. And if we take into consideration the previous video we saw, then if 40% of our kids fall away from before grade 12, then it really is a problem. And I think we should start, if we haven't started yet, we should start today, getting those kids back to school. Thank you very much.